Now to some new appointments overnight by the Trump transition team. The president-elect announcing that he has selected longtime communication staffer Karoline Leavitt as his White House press secretary. Meanwhile, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum tapped to lead the Department of the Interior and a newly formed National Energy Council. All this as concerns grow among some Republicans over some of Trump's more controversial decisions. ABC News White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks is joining us now with more. Mary Alice, good to see you again. So senators are making it clear that they want more information about former Congressman Matt Gaetz amid the House Ethics Committee's probe before his Senate confirmation vote for Attorney General. What's the latest on that, and what do we know about that ethics report?
I think it's important to remember that this was a bipartisan committee in the House, including a lot of Republicans, of course, that did this investigation looking into these allegations around Matt Gaetz. We've learned from sources that a woman testified that Gaetz had sex with her when she was only 17 years old. And a lawyer for another woman says that she testified, his client said that she testified that she witnessed that. So look, senators are hearing about these kinds of allegations, really explosive allegations that could be detailed in this ethics report. And they're saying this is exactly the kind of thing we would need to see before we vote on his confirmation. I mean, he has been nominated to be the top law enforcement officer in this country, Trump's attorney general, but it is the Senate, not the House, that has that responsibility of advising and consenting on cabinet picks. It was interesting to listen to even some Republicans talk about whether they might need to subpoena the House to get a copy of this report. Because when Gaetz resigned from his position as member of Congress, the House Ethics Committee, according to its rules, had to stop its investigation. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, said that he didn't think that the report should be released. So we're seeing a little bit of this tug of war. It'll be really interesting to see how this develops. And if the Senate, like I said, if Republicans even in the Senate push the House for access to this report with.
Yeah, something to watch. And again, Gaetz has denied any wrongdoing, denied the allegations in this case. But let's talk about some of these nominees for Trump's cabinet that could face an uphill battle in the Senate. We mentioned Gaetz. He's one of them. Also, RFK Jr. What are you learning about how the Trump transition is preparing for some of the pushback that they're likely to get?
They're lobbying senators. They're making calls. We've heard that Senator J.D. Vance, obviously the incoming vice president, J.D. Vance has been calling his colleagues, trying to see where they are on some of these picks. The cabinet picks themselves have been doing some lobbying. But the reality is they could face, a lot of these picks, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, could face a tough confirmation process. There are real questions about whether they will get through a confirmation process, when even some Republicans are expressing some skepticism and some doubt. Remember, before Trump started picking some of these folks, he put out that statement really encouraging Republicans in the Senate to be willing to do recess appointments, where they would basically change the rules in the Senate to give him more power to get his nominees through without the traditional Senate confirmation process. So that'll be another thing to watch, whether senators go along with that and basically give over their power, their check and balance as written in the Constitution, to consent to these cabinet picks and let him sort of put them in place without a Senate vote.
Yeah, and we're still waiting on appointments to major cabinet positions like Treasury, Transportation, Labor Secretaries. What are some of the other names that you're hearing?
All of us in D.C. are nervous to say them out loud. There's names that float around. People sort of buzz about themselves. They try to get their names in the papers. The reality is no one knows these picks are definite until it comes out, especially with this administration. I mean, Trump has been known to surprise even members of his own staff. But you're right. Even though these picks have been coming fast and furious, he's been working at really lightning pace. There are still a lot of other cabinet positions out there still, like you mentioned a few, labor, energy. It'll be really interesting to see also what he chooses to do with the Department of Education. Of course, on the campaign trail, he campaigned about eliminating the Department of Education altogether.
Mary Alice Parks, thank you. As always, we appreciate it.